Hi friends, I'm Shruti. Hope you all are fine. Today we are going to see Class 9 Science Physics Chapter Force and Laws of Motion. First of all, what is force? A push or pull or hit acting on an object is known as force. We cannot see force, we can only observe the effects of force. Force is a vector quantity and the SI unit of force is Newton, that is N. There are 5 effects of force, which are object at rest moves, a moving object stops, when we apply brake, increasing the speed of an object, changing the direction of an object, and also changing the dimension of an object. Now, we are going to differentiate between contact force and non-contact force. Contact force. The force which arises when two objects are in contact with each other is known as contact force. It is of two types, frictional force and muscular force. The force which opposes the movement of an object is known as frictional force. The force exerted by muscles on an object is known as muscular force. Now, non-contact force. The force which arises even when two objects are not in contact with each other is known as non-contact force. It is of three types, gravitational force, electrostatic force, and magnetic force. The force exerted by Earth on all objects is known as gravitational force. The magnetic force. The opposite poles of magnets attract each other due to magnetic force. The attraction between opposite charges is known as electrostatic force. Now, we are going to distinguish between balanced force and unbalanced force. Balanced force. When the net force acting on an object is zero, it is known as balanced force. Balanced force will not change the rest or motion of an object. Unbalanced force. When the net force acting on an object is not zero, it is known as unbalanced force. The object travels to where more force is applied. It suggests that unbalanced force acting on an object brings it in motion. Now, first law of motion. It states that an object continues to be in state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line unless acted on by an unbalanced force. More about the law of motion. There is a resistance offered by an object to change its state of motion. What is inertia? If an object is at rest, it tends to remain at rest. If it is moving, it tends to keep moving. This property of an object is known as inertia. The first law of motion is also known as the law of inertia. Mass of an object is the measure of its inertia. Heavier object possesses greater inertia than lighter objects. Now, second law of motion. The rate of change of momentum directly proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of the force. Now, what is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. It acts in the direction of the velocity and it has both magnitude and direction. It was introduced by Isaac Newton. The SI unit of momentum is kg per second. Third law of motion. The third law of motion states that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction which act on two different bodies. So that's all about this chapter, force and law of motion.